I'm always out in the community. I'll go anywhere to talk to anyone.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Connections That Matter. Our guest today is Cliff Cullen, who is the executive director from the Longmont Humane Society. And if you're not familiar with the Longmont Humane Society, it's a pretty big deal. They've won a lot of awards. And Cliff, I recently toured your facility. It was really cool to see the scope and the size of everything that you take care of on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's about a 58,000 square foot building. And we care for about 4,000 animals per year.
Wow. So when you say care for animals, some people have an idea of what a humane society is, but when I toured, you guys do a lot more than what I guess originally thought that you do. Yeah. So share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so like I said, it's about 4,000 animals per year. That includes cats, dogs, and small mammals, which can be anything from rabbits to guinea pigs, rats, mice. And the only small mammal we don't take is ferrets because the space that we have is, ferrets are predators and they freak out all the other small mammals, so we can't have them in the same space. But when animals come to us, they go through all of their medical needs. So we will microchip, spay, neuter, and vaccinate every single animal that comes through, no exceptions. And then we can also care for a lot more of their medical needs, including up to surgeries, cancer treatments, all kinds of stuff. And then we have a nationally recognized behavior team that cares for dogs that maybe need a little more work. We actually have a 2-year waiting list for those dogs for shelters who around the nation who can't care for them. We will take them and care for them. And so because of that, we actually have a 98% save rate. So 98% of the animals that enter our facility leave to a home.
And what's like an industry average?
I believe in the U.S. across every single state, the average is 85%.
Wow.
Colorado is hovering right around 90%. If you hear the term no-kill a lot, no-kill numbers are above 90%. Okay. So that's kind of the industry standard. I think Colorado was at 89% last I checked. It's really close, but we're quite a bit above
98% is significantly above. Well, congratulations on that. Okay. How do you pull it all off? Because you have 100 employees and 400 volunteers, and you're the executive director at the top. So tell me about that. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So there are constant moving parts. There's a million things. You kind of never really know what each day is going to bring because you're dealing with animals. It's, an animal could get sick or they could have extra needs. So it really takes a team of dedicated staff and volunteers. We could not do what we do without our volunteers. Like you mentioned, there's 400 of them. I mean, last time we counted it up, which is a couple of years ago, we're going to do this number again. Volunteers accounted for like 22 paid positions, which is just an incredible amount of budget that we're saving. Sure. And work that they're providing for us because they happen to love animals. And so every single person who works there, who's paid to be there, also loves animals. They are there because they really deal with a lot of hard work. I mean, the first thing you have to do when you go in the mornings is clean up every kennel. You clean up after your own animals. Yeah. Imagine that times 200, 250. That's how many animals we might have on site at any one time. And it's a lot of work. It's not easy. But we have people who are really committed to it. And it takes a village. But every single person that's there really loves the work that we do, and they really care about the animals.
Well, and one thing I see you do, Cliff, is you're out networking, you're out building relationships. I mean, there's a lot of local businesses that are sponsoring your events or sponsoring different animals or different things there. So how do you walk me through the sponsorship process? What do you do to attract sponsors or to create that community engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question because we are a nonprofit. We're a private nonprofit. We actually are not connected with the Humane Society of the United States. That's primarily a lobbying organization. They don't actually directly care for animals. So we're our own private thing. We don't have government support. We do have a contract with the local city to take in strays. But as far as our support goes, 50% of our revenue is paid for by donations. So that is pure and simple where all that comes from. Adoption fees really only cover about 10% of what it costs to care for all of the animals. It's a really small amount. And so 50% comes from donations. That includes sponsorships. So that includes partnerships with local businesses. We're trying to build that up even more. That can be an even higher number, but we offer sponsorships of events where we actually will market for local businesses in exchange for support of those events. So we are really happy to put a business name all over whatever we can think of. We host Longmont's Oktoberfest in the fall. We'll put people's names on the stage, depending on what level they support at. So I'm out there meeting with people, talking with them. We have a golf tournament coming up in July. We have several businesses that are joining and being a part of that. And they'll have like a whole team from their business come together and spend the day on the golf course. So it's a nice outing for them. And then it's also supportive of us because that money goes right back to the animals.
Cool. Well, and it sounds very like a win-win situation where they get to, donate to a cause that they believe in, but also you've built quite an audience with just your traffic or what you do in Longmont to be able to showcase that on your platforms. How do you set that up? Like, I guess walk me through it if somebody wants to sponsor an event or get involved some way. How do you set up that reciprocity?
Yeah. So we have different levels of sponsorship that are available, starting usually at about $250. So it's kind of available for businesses of any size, all the way up to, of course, $5,000, $7,500, $10,000. We'll never say no to a $10,000 gift.
Sure.
But and it's there's different benefits that go along with each level. So, like for instance, in our for our gala back in February, our $5,000 sponsorship, we partnered with a local brewery and did a brewer for a day for that $5,000 sponsor, where they came in and actually brewed the beer that we served at the gala.
Cool.
And so that was really cool. That sponsor was Valley Subaru, which is our local Subaru dealership in Longmont. They've been really supportive of us. And so we put that together as kind of a special gift for them, and it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that. And then there's also kennel sponsorships. So if someone wants to actually sponsor one of the kennels that the animals live in, there could be 8 or 10 animals that live in that kennel over the course of a year, and their sponsorship helps cover that their needs during the time that they're living with us. And then we decorate it according to how the business wants it decorated. So that's really fun. Quarters Bar and Arcade that's in Longmont has sponsored one of those. So that's really fun. There's with the different levels. That's where I was going. There's marketing that goes along with that. So we have 23,000 email subscribers, and our email has a 50% open rate most of the time. So it's really good, really above industry average, even for nonprofits. And we have over 100,000 reach on social media. So we had a TikTok video that went viral last year and had over 7 million views. Ooh. So we get a lot of content engagement. Anytime you can put puppies and kittens and things like that out there, people like it. People tend to engage with it. Yeah. So we're happy to put out that marketing for businesses who support us, and so that gets people's information kind of out there in front of a big group of people.
Are they approaching you like they're wanting to get involved, or are you soliciting them through your networking efforts? How are you making the first contact?
Both. It's the best day in the world is when a business comes in and says, "Hey, we want to partner with you guys." That does happen. That's rare, but it does happen. Yeah. I've had a couple businesses do that, but most of the time, it takes me being out in the public. I'm in a couple of networking groups. We're part of the chamber. We're part of NIA. We go to. I'll go to any meeting anywhere and talk to people. I've been to Rotary clubs and presented. It really just depends. And I always bring information about sponsorships, flyers, and things like that. And that's always the first thing I mention, is because for us, a lot of people might think as a nonprofit that we're in the business of just taking money. And yeah, we do need donations in order to survive. But for us, it's very much reciprocal. We are not in the business of just taking and not giving back. And so for businesses, we know marketing is important. And so I'm more than happy to provide that reciprocity for other businesses and work together with them to figure out what works best. I mean, if they come to us and have an idea, we'll figure it out and we'll work with them. So yeah, I'm always out in the community. I'll go anywhere to talk to anyone.
Well, and then if you're gonna walk dogs, and you know, I mean, it's good content and stuff there too. I guess I want to go into like why animals end up in the shelter. What I mean, it could be there was a fire or a flood in a home, and now a family is displaced, and you house animals. But I guess talk to me some of the key situations of how you get animals, or people end up in your, or not people, animals end up in your shop.
Yeah, so there's kind of 4 different ways that animals end up at the shelter. So usually, I think our number one intake is a stray. So it's an animal that has gotten loose. Animal control finds them. A Good Samaritan finds them. They're just out, and we take them in. Our goal is always to return them to the owner if we can. So we always scan for microchips. There's my little plug. Always microchip your animals. It helps us find you a lot easier. But once they have been with us for 5 days, if their owner doesn't claim them, they become ours. So that's probably our number one. And then we also receive surrenders. So if someone's in a changing living situation, they may not be able to bring their animal with them. That happens a lot. People entering assisted living facilities, that'll happen. People with new babies, that happens a lot, where the dog or cat just isn't handling the new addition very well, and so sometimes they have to surrender them. It's always a judgment-free zone because we don't know every situation, but that's a big one. We also can transfer in from shelters across the U.S. For whatever reason. It might be easier for us to adopt. This is just an example. I don't know if this is true, but it might be easier for us to adopt labs as opposed to somewhere in, say, Colorado Springs. Maybe they can't adopt labs out for some reason. It's weird. Sometimes things like that happen. So they'll transfer all their labs to us, and we might transfer our Great Danes or something to them because people in that area want them for whatever reason. So there's transfers that go back and forth, behavior transfers, because we have such a great behavior team. And then the 4th way animals come to us is through birth. We'll have puppies and kittens that are born at the shelter sometimes. Right now is just starting kitten season, so that's whenever it gets consistently above 60 degrees. Kittens,
kitten season.
Yeah, kitten season. So it runs from April-ish to October-ish.
Okay.
And so we'll get in a lot of kittens that are strays that people have found, or they'll bring in a pregnant mother and she'll give birth at the shelter. So most of our kittens come through during this time of year. So that's the other way we kind of get them.
I gotcha. Well, I would love to help you make some additional connections. You know, for the change in living situations, hey, I'm going to assisted living, I can't get up. There's other business owners who want to target people who are going through the same thing, like financial planners or in-home care kind of places. I'm sure you have some great connections already that you use. I would love for you to shout out 1 or 2 of those, and then share some additional connections that if somebody watching could reach out to you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. So we do have a partnership with Althaus Law that's in Longmont, and so they're an estate planning attorney, and we have their information around, and then of course we have connections with other nonprofits. So again, our goal is always to keep an animal with a person. So if someone comes to us and says, so an example would be like a domestic abuse situation if they're having to leave. In fact, a lot of people won't leave a domestic abuse situation if they can't take care of their animals or can't take their animals with them.
Okay.
The numbers are really, really high on that. So we will connect them with a lot of the women's shelters in town. Will also offer, will allow people to bring their animals in with them. Or if they won't, then we can actually keep them for up to a month for a really inexpensive rate. But those are other great partnerships. Our center is one that we have a partnership with in town. We have a couple of doggy daycares in town if people just need short-term care during the day. Camp Bow Wow is one. DOG is another. We partner with them. But anytime that someone is going through a situation like that, another one is Colorado Pet Pantry. If someone can't feed their animals, they provide food pickups. But whenever someone is going through a transition like that, any resources that we can provide them are really helpful. people share a lot with us at our intake desk when they're having to surrender their animals. And they will often ask us for resources. So that could be even as broad as like a divorce attorney or an estate attorney, an assisted living facility in general. We don't have a partnership with a specific one yet. We actually would love that. So if there is an assisted living facility that would like to partner with us, reach out. It's really anytime, if you think about life transitions, any organization that can help with those, have a conversation with me because we would love to be able to provide that to people.
Right on. Well, and then some people will just want to come and walk dogs or volunteer. So how can people get involved to volunteer with you?
Yeah, so we have a very robust volunteer department. And that can be ongoing volunteering. So like if you sign up for a shift per week, per month, whatever it is, you can set that up through our volunteer department. It's online. We have trainings every so often, so you can be trained to walk dogs, care for the cats. Although I will say, don't get your hopes up about working with the cats because Colorado and the U.S. in general is kind of experiencing a cat shortage right now. So it's actually really hard.
But it's cat season.
But it's kitten season, so there might be more. But that's also a very coveted volunteer position.
Gotcha.
So there's not always a lot of availability there, but we can always use dog walkers. If you're someone who really loves animals, but your heart is so tender for them, you just can't come to the shelter and work. I get it. We totally get that. We have events that you could volunteer at. We actually have a fair amount of admin work that can be done. We're a full nonprofit. It takes a lot of work to run a nonprofit. Social media, we can always use volunteers for helping us with social media. There's a lot of different ways that people can volunteer, and that can all be done through our volunteer department through the website. And then we can also do like day-long or half-day or a few-hour volunteer events for businesses. So like if a business wants to do like a team building thing and they want to come, 11 to 2 over their lunch break and do some work, there's always stuff that needs to be done. I mean, always. Yeah. We do all of our landscaping in-house because that's more money that we can put back towards the animals. So if we have a group come in and help us weed a flower bed, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that actually makes a huge difference for us because it allows us to put that money back into caring for the animals. Painting. This seems like a dumb one. Painting the lines in the for the parking spots.
Sure.
It's just it's stuff that is day to day that has to be done. Someone has to do it. And so when we have volunteers come in and offer to do stuff like that, it's a huge help for us.
Really cool. And then if I'm a business owner that wants to sponsor or get involved in an event, maybe I want to sit down and do a one-to-one with you. How do I get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can share my phone number, email. So, my phone number is 720-323-5615. That's my cell. I am always on it. And then my email is my first initial and last name. So it's C. Cullen, Cullen, at longmonthumane.org. And I will always sit down and have one-to-ones with people. I am happy to give you a tour too. I love doing tours of the facility. It takes, if I can do a quick tour in 20 minutes, but to really get the full experience, it takes about 40. And always by about the 25-minute mark, people are like, wow, there's way more going on here than I ever anticipated. Yeah, I actually know where it's at in the building that people are usually like, wow, this is crazy. So I'm more than happy to connect with anyone.
Well, Cliff, thanks for coming on the show. One of the best networkers that I know, one of the people making Longmont, great place to live. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around the Humane Society.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Hey all, thanks for watching. I love networking and building relationships with other Northern Colorado business leaders. So if you want to come meet some of these podcast guests, meet me, or meet some other amazing entrepreneurs in Northern Colorado, I would love to have you attend one of our next events. Go in the podcast description. There's a ways that you can see our upcoming schedule, and maybe you could be a future podcast guest as well. Thanks.